Hello and welcome, fans, back to the JRPG Report. This is episode 55. My name is James Fisher. Thank you so much for tuning in to this podcast. We took a week off as me and the family went down for a little spring break mini vacation, but we are back at it. We've got a good amount of news to go over. Some big announcements happened, and I kind of regret that I took a week off, as there's a couple of things I'm going to talk about here in just a moment. Want to tell you about some of my gameplay here with the Trails of Cold Steel remaster, I guess you can call it. How things are going in that, and just a few things all around the JRPG universe. Let's start off with kind of the big announcement that happened back on the 23rd, so it's been a while. It's pretty much right after our last podcast was recorded, and that is Persona 5 The Royal. In case you haven't heard about it, this is it's been teased for a little while, and it came on after the animation over in Japan. So right as soon as that one came out, there was a short 30-second commercial that came out, and it basically it doesn't give a whole lot of information. I'll kind of give you the translated voice. What it said, it was a young female student who goes to the same school as the Phantom Thieves. At least it appears to be the same school uniform. And a voice asks her what she thinks of the Phantom Thieves. And her response is, "I think helping people is a wonderful thing, but if I had to say, I don't like them. I don't think the Phantom Thieves' methods will make the world a better place or help anyone. In the end, I feel like you can always solve that yourself." And that's kind of it. And it says that there will be more information coming soon at the April 24th Persona Super Live concert. We'll have a bit of a snippet about that here in just a moment. So there's been a lot of speculation as to what any of this is, what the Royal means. Initially, I thought perhaps this student could be a member of a Japanese royal family, and maybe that's the connection. You've got Joker and Queen, so you do have sort of a royal theme in some of the names there. We'll just have to kind of wait and see what else comes out about this. It certainly appears to be either a DLC or a remastered, fully loaded version of Persona 5, and it certainly seems like it's coming out, I would guess, this year for PS4. Now, the obvious question is, there's a lot of obvious questions, but one of the first things that maybe most people are thinking about is, we've been speculating on a Switch version of Persona 5, and actually just yesterday we've got some rumors to discuss. So let me just kind of lay this out for you. This is what we do know now. These things can be faked, it could be misinterpreted, but let me just read you as is. Now, Best Buy, they have an internal system which is called Core Blue. So I'm guessing maybe an employee leaked this. And in that system itself, there are new listings for 3 games that were not previously known. So we've got A Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, the Super Nintendo game, the Metroid Prime trilogy, which came out on the GameCube, and Persona 5. These SKUs were all brand new. They were very close to each other. So everything, having worked in retail I'll go ahead and tell you, I worked at Target there for a little while. These things do happen, and it's usually a telltale sign that something's happening. It's kind of like when a company trademarks, a new title for something. We end up usually getting a game or something close to that. down the road. This was confirmed by Twitter user Wario64. Apparently he has done this in the past, and it's all been come to fruition. Interesting enough, like I said, the SKUs were all very close. One of the SKUs, kind of in the middle of these three, was also for Dragon Quest XI, Echoes of the Elusive Age S Definitive Edition, which we know is actually coming. So, more on that later. Yeah, I kind of think this is the first indication that this is happening. Of course, we know Joker is coming to Super Smash Brothers. We also now know that there is a Persona 5S teaser website. It just launched the other day, and all it says is one more information, and that is coming out on April 25th. So you remember I said April 24th, we're getting more information about the Royal. On the 25th, we're getting more information about Persona 5S. We're assuming, we didn't know what R stood for before, and it being the Royal. We don't know what S stands for. We're assuming that it's Switch. Now, what's going on April 24th and 25th? What is this big announcement? So this is the Persona Super Live Peace Sound Street 2019. Welcome to the Number Q Theater concert. And I will try to break out my best Japanese and tell you that it is at the Ryogoku Koku Ganshin-chan in Tokyo. I'm very sorry if I even got that even close. So there's a big concert thing going on, and we'll get announcements about that the 24th and 25th. So, of course, stay tuned here, and we will. I'll try to taper the podcast to come out maybe on the as soon as I hear something. So we'll get you that information as soon as possible. Certainly, all indications are looking like we're going to be getting some Persona 5 love this year, and Switch owners can finally play the masterpiece that was Persona 5. I believe we'll have the official announcement the 24th and 25th. I told you more information coming about Dragon Quest XI-S. So there was a couple of things we had thought might happen based on some screenshots, and one of those was that your entire party was now going to be viewable on the screen and falling behind the hero, and that has finally been confirmed. Very, very cool stuff. You can now talk directly to the party members without opening the menu. That makes sense. Of course, we knew about the orchestra sound being added to it. You can now switch between those two, either the orchestra or the synthesizer, at any point in the game. I don't know what the purpose of that is. You can dash with the ZR button. I like this one. There's a new horse bell item. You can call your horse at any time, so you don't necessarily have to find one of the bells to summon your horse. That can definitely come in handy. And this is something that I thought about initially, and I didn't think to say it, but you can now gain experience points when your horse knocks over enemies on the field. It kind of just makes sense, and that should be a good way to help, especially maybe those early levels, a little bit help with some of the grinding. The battle speed, you can go normal, fast, or really fast. The quest from the 3DS version of the game, which you visit previous Dragon Quest titles, will be included in the Switch version, but not without some changes. And this was a big announcement, and I don't know why it's called this, but they're calling it voice drama downloadable content. And basically, let's say a new story is also being added that allows you to experience each character as the protagonist through the unexpected sides of these characters and previously untold stories. They want you to further enjoy the drama of those characters, and they're making this an additional downloadable comment. This was by from series corrector who made this statement. He wasn't able to appear on the program where all this information came out. He's apparently in some poor health. Hopefully everything is okay with that. They're saying the definitive edition is due out for Switch worldwide this fall. I'm still... That's a tough one. It's a tough one to try to think about. You kind of have to balance in your mind if you're feeling jaded by the PS4 being basically an inferior edition. Do they do what's right in my mind and release this all as DLC for the PS4 version? Or if this is only available on the Switch in this format, I mean, as the super Dragon Quest fan that I am, I'll just kind of, get over it and purchase this game again. I think it would be a lot of fun to play on the go, and especially to play in this version. You can't help but feel a little cheated in a way. It's tough though, and like I said before, I don't want to pass judgment on something before it happens, so we'll just have to wait and see. But in the meantime, I'm just going to act like this is a new experience and be excited about it, because it doesn't really pay to be negative about these things. It's not going to help out things any. So we are looking forward to that coming up soon. Super Neptunia RPG is coming to the PC this summer. We already knew about the PS4 and Switch versions of it. If you're interested, it'll be in English, Japanese, traditional Chinese, and French subtitles. I'm thinking this one looks like it could be pretty cool with its 2D look to it. Those games have always been very niche and odd is one way of putting it. But the battle system was really cool, so I'm hoping that this is a play on that, and turns out well. Quickly, that we are getting a Mary Skelter 2 is coming to the Switch. Compile announced back at the Denkai Game Festival 2019. It first launched on PS4 back in June of 2018. The Switch version will include touchscreen and HD Rumble support. And that's all we have at this moment. Don't have anything, a firm date, just that it is coming. And we're starting to see this more and more, that as the Switch has done extremely well sales-wise, that it is getting more and more JRPG love, and that is only a good thing. This was an interesting story. So Grand Blue Fantasy Relink is in development with the same number of staff as back when it was developed or co-developed by Platinum Games. So the staff is not, fallen off a cliff. They're not over there working with some skeleton crew. They've still got the same number. And so this was in the latest issue of Famitsu, and here are just some of the little tidbits. They are now currently in development. It's currently in development at Cygames Osaka. When they first took over, development speed temporarily decreased, but now that Cygames Osaka alone has secured a development system with the same number of staff it had when the game was being developed, things are moving along at full speed. As the number of development staff will continue to increase, development speed is expected to further increase as well. Cygames says confidence players will enjoy the game and asks that everyone please look forward to it. That's like such a Japanese answer. You see this very often, like that they just they kind of do the little bow and said that they hope that everyone will please look forward to it, which means it's coming. We don't know. We don't know when. But please look forward to it. A release date has still not been announced yet. That could I'd say there's a 25% chance we get something like at E3 this year, a big announcement. If, as a small new developer, I think they would be smart, especially for Western fans, to be at something like E3. And, of course, that'll be here in 2 months, or less than 2 months. So that kind of puts a pretty decent timetable on when that may happen. We'll just have to wait and see. But the game, I'm still very much looking forward to it. And we'll see what happens. We did get some more details about Ys 9. And this was also at the aforementioned Dengeki Game Festival. So here are just some of the small details. Maps are three-dimensional with different levels of elevation. Jumping and vertical actions have increased. Around 50 to 60% of the map is this giant city. The prison is a major symbol, and surrounding it is the vast city. Monster means monster, and Nox means night. Combine those two, it means Night of the Monsters. That's kind of cool. The way Idol appears is different than before. He is in a significantly unusual form. Each monstrum has various actions such as flying, running up walls, and more. You can reach various places by utilizing these actions. Some actions work on traps to cancel their mechanics. Like past Ys titles, Ys 9 has simple action that even novices and players not this is their words, and players not good at action games can enjoy. You can run up any wall. You can generally travel to places seen in the distance. As the largest city in the series yet, there are tons of variation from developing areas to slum. There's a coliseum in the city. And the game uses the series' traditional party system. You advance while utilizing each monstrum's different ability. Since attributes are still important about it, you can switch between party members while fighting. Of course, this game is due out on PS4 this fall in Japan. So there's some cool new details to look forward to. We're still pretty early in this whole process. So it is a ways off. One more bit of information I wanted to pass along. This will tie into a little bit of what we're going to talk about, the Trails of Cold Steel. So, Falcom President Kondo shared artwork from the upcoming developments in the Trail series, The Legend of Heroes games, at the Dengeki Game Festival 2019. There are 3 images shown on the screen. One male character. It almost, just at a glance, it looks like a regal Gaius, if like he was 10 years older or something. I don't want to say that's him at all, but you never know. There's a maybe not quite as tall, because he looks like the same height as the female character beside of him, who somehow has a giant hoop in her hair off to the side. But she doesn't look like anybody I've ever seen in the Trails of Cold Steel series. Maybe she shows up in the later ones, but and then the last female character is sporting an eye patch. And then there's a larger male character kind of in the background behind her, but he is all blacked out. So this is basically talking about the future of the games after Part 4 wraps up, whenever we get that. But of course in Japan they are already talking about and moving on to perhaps what's next. So according to Kondo, there are currently plans for new Trail series numbered titles. There are also plans, new titles that answer questions like what has become of this or that, and details that could not be told before. Falcom previously announced that the Trails team was divided into 2, with one team seemingly working on the next numbered title and another on a side story. Now he says more information about the Trail series developments are expected to be announced in June. So it will be interesting to see where they go from here, we had Trails of the Sky, we had the Crossbell series, and now Cold Steel has wrapped up. So it'll be interesting to see what part of Erebonia we head to next and what story it tells and what, if any, old characters will be. So it kind of sounds like they said the team is in 2. The next one will be working on the next Trails of series, but then the other one is working on a side story. So maybe some further development of characters from Cold Steel or Trails in the Sky. We'll just have to wait and see. But I mean, these are the type of things that you assume are going on, that companies are working on the next, series of games, and this pretty much confirms that. I'm really. The future looks bright for Falcom. I really believe that we are looking at the next, for sure, big series, and hopefully by the time people are done with 1 and 2, and then Part 3 of Cold Steel comes out, and people see what a actual current generation game looks like, that we'll be heading into. This series right there with Tales, right there with your Personas and Dragon Quests and Final Fantasies. Because, if you didn't know, 2019 is the year of Trails of Cold Steel. I didn't know it when 2019 began, necessarily, but it is all that. We have Trails of Cold Steel now, Part 2 coming out in May, and Part 3 coming out hopefully fall. I'm hoping that it's more towards September than later in the fall. We shall wait and see. But yeah, I've gotten I haven't got to play a ton of Cold Steel, but they did a really nice job with this remaster. You're not gonna look at it and say, "Oh wow, look at that PS4 game." You're gonna say, "What happened to this PS4 game? It looks like a PS3 game," and it still does, but it's a very clean PS3 game. So, like with Final Fantasy XII: The Zodiac Age, you had a PS2 game that got cleaned up real nicely, and it looks like a very good PS3 game. You're not going to convince anybody that's a PS4 game. But it looks very well for what it does, and at times it really shines and looks great. This one, I guess maybe their original product wasn't, they're not going for lifelike animations or stuff like that. It is a very anime style and keeps that look, but it's just very cleaned up. You can really... You can see a lot more details than you did before, but you're not playing that game for the graphics. You're playing it for the gameplay. It's still fun to on your free days to run around and do different bonding events with different characters. But for me, it's the star of the show is the great story that you will eventually get into. And then that battle system. It is just phenomenal. And it feels like it's really sped up. Like there's no big delay. If you want to just keep going as fast as you can, you really can. Especially if you know this system, if you played the games before, you can kind of breeze right through the battles. There's even the turbo option if you want to really crank things up and somehow go faster. But I really am enjoying my trip back down into Thor's Military Academy and seeing Trist. I just got to Keldic, where the big market is, and on my first field day. So if you guys are interested, but you don't necessarily want to take the plunge just yet, head over to the JRPG Report YouTube page. And I've been streaming everything from moment one, so you can kind of dive right in and check out what some of the, not only what the battle system looks like, but what the game looks like, what the social aspects are like. Find out if it is for you. If you are a fan, I'm not going to say it's going to be compared to Persona because of, you've got students, you've got a school setting, and you've got social aspects to it. But it's really not. It has a completely different feel to it, and it's not as heavy on those aspects. Like, to go spin a bonding event with somebody, you only get like 2 of them on that first day. You end up getting a third one at night. So you've only got certain characters that you can even have the option of spending that time with in the first place. And it's just a little skit. If it takes 5 minutes, that's probably too long. And then you get a huge amount of link points that strengthens your links in battle and enables you to open up different attacks. So it certainly has an advantage to doing these things, and it's fun. You can choose who you want to. So, like, for the first day, I could have done a bonding event with Machias, but he's probably never going to be in my battle party, so I usually don't. I want to strengthen those bonds, so I want to pick actual party members that are going to be involved. So I went and spent it with Laura and with Elliot, who are both in my party at the time, and they end up being in your group for your first field study. So it actually pays to really work on those bonds, especially early on. But yeah, quite enjoying it. If you guys are thinking about it, you can pick it up. It's only $40 if you get the digital version, or maybe a standard edition is only $40. I know I paid $50 for my special edition, and I'm very happy that I did. It comes with just enough to really make it worth that extra $10 in my mind. Of course, I'm going to choose physical over digital, no matter what, until they take them away from us, right? You got to be a collector. So I think we'll kind of wrap things up right there. I do want to mention, if you guys can head over to the Anchor app, and if you've got a question for the show, you can send us a voicemail that way. I have got it set up now, I believe, to where if you'd like to support the podcast, or what I'm doing with YouTube and videos and live stream and all that stuff, it is I am able to accept contributions or donations, however you want to look at it, and I would really appreciate if you felt so inclined to do that. You can do that through Anchor, and like I said, I would greatly appreciate any support. It'll go into the kitty and help get some new games, or just help out with things in general. We'll wrap it up this time. We'll talk more Trails of Cold Steel next week, and break down any news that may come up, and maybe try to find something to fill some time, especially if I try to do this every week, which that's the hope, guys. We'll see what happens. Life has a way of messing that up, but we'll try to put one out every week. Usually around Wednesday we try to record. So until then, guys, get back out there and level up.